Hi guys, so I just thought to make this video on how you can go about managing your finances during a period of crisis. So we are facing some of the biggest challenges we've faced for quite some time at this moment, and many people are worried about their health situations. But parallel to worrying about their health situations, many people are silently worrying about their financial lives. And of course, tied to financial lives are relationships. Okay, so you've got health, then you've got wealth, and then you've got relationships, and they're all interlinked. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you a 7-step process for how you can manage your finances during a time of pandemics, or during stock market crashes, or just during recessions, what have you. Okay, so I want to share with you how I would look at my finances and how we're looking at our finances in this time period. And I hope that these tips can help to give you some peace of mind in this time, can help to really start to give you a bit of structure in your household so that you can start to take charge of your finances. So today's point will relate to you if you're somebody who is maybe self-employed, of which in this country alone we have about 4.8 million people who are self-employed. These points will also help if you're somebody who's employed and only has a couple of months of savings or just about scraping by. Okay, these tips should hopefully give you some peace of mind. Okay, my name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is give you the tips, the insights, and the practical hacks to help you work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. So I'm making this very video because I know a lot of people are very concerned. In fact, I had a friend of mine who left me a voice note. She's self-employed, and he's told me that amongst her group of friends, they are so worried because many people are living just on the breadline and don't have enough resources saved. Many people have not expected almost this triple threat of having to spend money now to kind of stockpile, but at the same time lacking in savings, and at the same time worrying about their jobs or businesses. So many people are facing a huge constraint from all sides. Okay, so let's dive in now and start to look at these various kind of steps that I think you should put in place in order to get your finances in shape and survive and hopefully thrive in this challenging period. So the first thing I'd say is to appoint a home CFO. Okay, now just explain what I mean by that. So I work day to day as a CFO. It's one of the hats I wear ordinarily. And what a CFO stands for is a Chief Financial Officer. By that I mean, within your household, somebody in your household has to take on the responsibility for driving the family's finances and managing the family's finances in this challenging time. Because what's very apparent is that during times of fear, most people will panic, and couples will struggle to get to grips with how to manage their finances. So I'd say try to appoint someone within your home. It could be you, it could be your partner, but your goal is to say, I'm the person who is taking charge of our finances during this period of turmoil or challenges. And your goal is to become that person who is the driver, who's looking at implementing the various things I'm going to mention on this video, whilst also reminding everybody else in your household that you have certain goals ahead, and these challenges you're facing now are a part of the journey towards helping you achieve your future goals. So please appoint somebody, have a conversation within your home, and somebody has to basically take up the responsibility and say, I'm the person who is going to raise my hand and get hold of this. And the reason I mention appointing somebody is that it has to be somebody who can almost eject themselves from the emotional concerns about their finances, because that person will be the person who gives strength to everybody else if they are worried about money and things like that. Once you've appointed your home CFO, the next step is to understand where you are. Okay, so in times of crisis and panic, people forget to assess exactly where they are. Okay, and the key thing before you even start to do anything else is to assess exactly where you are financially. By that I mean your current financial position. The way you do that is to a very simple way to grab an A4 sheet of paper and write down a list of all your assets. If you have any assets at all, this could be your savings, cash you have in the bank, any investments, any property, whatever you've got, write them on one side of an A4 sheet And on the right-hand side, write down all your liabilities, people you owe money to. It could be credit cards, mortgage, student loans, what have you. Write them all down. The beauty of the one sheet is that on a single sheet of paper, you can see what your financial life looks like, okay? Because then you can start to connect dots and say, well, actually, I could use these assets to potentially offset these liabilities if I have to, okay? And the difference between the total assets you have and the total liabilities you have is your current financial position, or your net worth, as some people refer to it as, okay? The other key thing from doing this exercise is that it keeps you laser focused on a very important aspect of your asset column, which is your cash, okay? So cash flow will become the most important thing you need to keep a complete handle on during this difficult time, okay? So the key thing I'd like you to establish at this stage 2 of the 7-point plan is to figure out how much cash have we got at the moment, and how many months would the cash we've got last us if we carried on at our current lifestyle, current level of lifestyle, okay? So you want to figure that number out. How much cash have we got and how long will it last us? Because what you ultimately want to do is to then start to execute the next steps of this plan such that you can start to boost that cash pot you've got and build up a bit of a runway, a bit of a lifeline for you and your family, such that you are protected in the event of things getting a lot worse than they might be at the moment. The other thing you're also establishing at this stage of figuring out where you are is also assessing things such as, what bits of insurance do we have in our lives at the moment? Do we have health insurance? Do we have critical illness insurance? What do we have in our lives at the moment? So I'd say to you, on that A4 sheet that you've done your assets and liabilities, on the other side of that sheet, write down any other forms of protections you've got in your life, such as bits of insurance that might come in handy in the event that things get worse, which might potentially happen and which might not happen at all during a period of crisis. Step number 3 is to create a crisis budget. By that I mean, a typical budget analyzes how you're going to distribute the income you generate regularly across the different expenses in your life. And those expenses cover your essential expenses and your lifestyle expenses. A crisis budget, on the other hand, assumes certain scenarios and says things such as, what if you do not receive an income for the next 3 months? Or what if you don't receive an income for the next 6 months? If that happens, how will you survive, essentially? That's what that budget's about. It allows you to look at the key essential expenses in your life and then consider what other expenses exist and make some certain calls around those non-essential expenses in your life. So at this stage, you're really having conversations with your partner, if you've got one, on what is an essential expense in our lives. And the more realistic about what you classify as essential expenses, the better, because you can then identify other areas in your current expense life that you can say, well, actually, we're going to stop that expense, or we're going to consider stopping that expense, or we're going to consider stopping that one if X, Y, or Z happened over the next month or over the next few weeks. Step number 4 is where you make the hard decisions about what expenses stay and what expenses actually leave. So in the previous step, you were having the conversations about them, but with step 4, you're actually now actioning those conversations and basically identifying what remains as expenses in your life and what has to go, such that you are then building up that margin in your life, that bit of a buffer, and that then flows into that bit of cash that you might have to act as a reserve for you and your family over the next coming months. The key thing I'd love to mention when it comes to identifying essential expenses is to make sure that if you've got expenses in there that are helping you achieve your medium-term to longer-term goals, it's very important to make sure that those remain, because what you don't want to do during a period of crisis is to completely fall off the the cliff when it comes to thinking about those longer term goals. Because what we hope is that the current challenges that you might be facing during a time of a pandemic or a stock market crash or a recession or what have you is something that will not last for a very long time. It's something that we hope over the next few months should almost kind of start to disappear gradually and life starts to come back to normal. So you want to make sure that those expenses that are helping you achieve those medium-term to long-term goals are protected, provided you've got a complete case for why they're helping you achieve your future goals. Step number 5 is where you start to chase anyone who owes you money, follow up with them, whether you run a small business or whether you've lent people money in the past. You want to follow up with those people and try where possible to recover as much of that money. What's also critical about step 5 is to start to negotiate with your creditors. So if you've got a mortgage, if you've got utility bills, if you've got things that you pay out on a monthly basis, you want to start to get their numbers and start to give them a phone call. Call your bank and negotiate a payment holiday on your mortgage beyond anything that the government might have offered as some relief to people during this time of a challenge. You want to start to call your creditors and negotiate with them, because what you don't want to do is to default without having the conversations. You want to have it on record that you've called to have the conversation, and people will understand, provided you are making the point of communicating with them and agreeing terms on your debt, whether it's your credit cards, whether it's any kind of short-term loans you've got. Give them a call and have the conversation. You'd be surprised. You'd be able to negotiate terms that hopefully extend the period over which you need to pay back certain bits of monies that you owe, such that hopes to kind of give you a bit of relief when it comes to your cash flows over the next coming months. Step number 6 is where you start to look around your life and look around your home and just consider what you can sell in order to raise some cash, okay? During times of difficulties, it's when you have to become quite creative about how you solve your problems. And a really easy way of helping to boost your cash balances and help to have a bit of a buffer is to look around your home for things that might have some value to which you really might not need during challenging times, okay? Put those things online, get them sold, because you'd be surprised there are people buying things even during difficult times of crises or what have you. There are people always out there looking for bargains. You might have to sell them at a bit of a discount. This could be things such as jewelry. It might be a second car that you've always wanted to get rid of for quite some time. It might just be toys you've got around the house, what have you. But these are things that can help you potentially raise 1 month or 2 months worth of expenses to help give you a few months more of lifeline when it comes to managing your financial lives, potentially as a family. Now, step number 7 is where you start to look at your time. So far we've been talking about your money. You've been auditing your money, looking at where your money is going, looking at where it's coming from, and working very hard to manage your finances. But what's very key in parallel to managing your finances is also to manage your time. So what I'd say at stage 7 is to consider reallocating a fair bit of your time from certain activities that might not be generating value in your life towards other activities that might help you to generate more income. So you might want to explore work from home ideas that might be able to generate for you a few £100 per month, or even up to £1,000 or more per month, depending on what ideas you explore. But do note though, that such ideas take some time to start to generate an income. So you might not see a return straight away from pursuing a side interest or a side hustle for some extra income. You might not see the results immediately, but if you focus on it and commit your time to it consistently over time, you potentially will start to see some results over a few months. We've done quite a lot of videos on side hustles and kind of work from home ideas. I'll put a link below and above to a recent one we did on £100 per day work from home ideas, as well as other ideas that you can pursue if you're somebody who does not even have any technical skills. Please look in the links below. We're going to share a ton of links that you can check out to pick an idea and explore and make some extra money during this time. The final bonus point I'd like to mention here is that during these challenging times, it's very important to keep your morale as high as possible. And the best way to do that is to encourage a culture in your home of ongoing communication and conversation. Nothing beats just talking about your challenges and your various things you're working towards solving in your life. Simply talk about them. If you've got money problems, just have a dialogue and talk about them. And the beginnings of finding a solution to your problems usually begins by having a conversation. So please be open, please have a dialogue, and don't be afraid to actually have a chat about the challenges you're having, even with people outside of your home, because you'd be surprised. Lots of people will probably be facing the same challenges that you are also facing yourself. Feel free, by the way, to get in touch with me if you are somebody who is struggling at this very time and not quite sure how to maybe make a bit more money to support your family, or how to deal with the challenges of managing your finances in these times, okay? If anything I've said today hasn't been very clear to you, by all means, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'd be more than happy to jump in there and clarify and help you take that step forwards towards managing your finances during these times. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below if you're somebody who's currently being challenged at the moment financially due to the various things that are going on with the economy, the current state of the economy, stock market crashes, panic, fear, all the various things that are going on. Please let me know in the comments if you've been affected, whether it's by your job or whether your finances, you're feeling a huge constraint. Let me know in the comments and I'd be more than happy to jump in and offer you some encouragement and offer you further tips on ways in which you can move forward. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video today on how you can manage your finances during a time of crisis, whether it's a pandemic or stock market crashes, recessions, what have you. I hope this video is giving you some ideas, some practical ideas for things you can do to move forward. If I didn't mention it earlier, don't forget to look in the links below. I'm going to share various resources that you can use to apply these ideas practically. Thanks a lot. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button because it really helps to encourage other people to watch our videos. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notifications bell so you get notified when we create content twice a week on a Tuesday as well as a Thursday. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you again on our next video. Take care and bye for now.